Get some decent water bottles as well, decent
Yeah.
water containers. People have no idea. If you're out in nature, like we take containers for granted in our society because they're everywhere. They are absolutely everywhere because that's how useful they are. But when you go out in nature and you want to try and make a container, it's like, oh, do you know what I mean? You're going to have to make one out of clay or you're going to have to use bark. Containers are really, really difficult thing to come across. Like, but we just take them for granted. So having a decent water bottle, like stainless steel or titanium, or then some larger water bottles. I mean, if you're going to get some plastic ones, get some proper decent ones. Because I've been through so many plastic water bottles over the years. Most of them do not last 2 or 3 months. Here's a good one. The same stuff that I use to tan leather, which is called tannic acid, which is in the tree bark, which the tree uses as it's its own immune system. It produces this stuff to keep like the molds and the fungus away. But this tannic acid is really, really good for skin ailments. Like, for instance, my wife caught ringworm years ago, and I don't know if anybody knows about ringworm, but this is a horrible thing. It goes all over your skin. It's really painful, and it's really hard to get rid of. Like, she even tried putting nail varnish remover on it. She was using vinegar. She tried all sorts, and it was just making it worse and worse. And in the end, what worked is she would get in the bath, and we would use the tannic acid out of the walnut husks, and that got rid of it in under 2 weeks.
Hmm.
So tannic acid from tree bark, I reckon that's a really, really good one. But antiseptic, yeah, I mean, at the moment, I'm
Birch
using.
bark. I mean, birch trees have that chaga mushroom absorbs all that out of there. I mean, that's one of the huge antivirals right now is the chaga mushroom. Birch
Wow.
bark and the birch itself is an antiseptic tree in alone, Even was it Germany in World War II, they used to perform surgery in birch forest because the leaves were all sterile, everything was sterile. So that was one of their operating theaters in a battlefield was finding a birch forest because chance of infection was really far less in there just naturally.
Awesome.
World War
Trouble is
II.
now is there's so much there's just so many nasties around. You got there's that MRSA, the methicillin resistant Staphylococcus, that flesh eating bacteria, which is really common in hospitals. So that's another reason why I do all my own surgery at home. When I cut my hand really badly the other week with the stone, I, cleaned it up with hydrogen peroxide. I glued it back together with super glue rather than stitching it, and just wrap my fingers together and just look after it. I mean, I'd happily stitch myself together. I would do whatever. Basically, if I have to go to hospital, it's because my head's hanging off. Ugh, yeah, definitely time to be careful. Like, I'm quite happy about staying away, to be quite honest.
And you'll understand why your grandmother had that bottle of witch hazel laying around.
Yeah. Yeah, well, wood ash from the fire, that
Same
makes
thing,
water
what's the
really
alkalinity on
helpful.
wood ash? It's got to be at least what, 10 or 11?
Oh, yes, 11. Yeah, that's what I use to make the hair fall out on a hide if I'm going to get the hair out. But
Hmm.
the thing you have to be careful with the potash is if once it gets wet and you've got it on your skin, it can burn you. So you can't really have it on there for too long. But just as a little short, get it on there, give it a good clean and then off. I mean, I use it as soap. If I'm on my land, I'll literally just get some potash in my hands, give my hands a good scrub, put them in the river, wash them off, and just really, really quickly, and it works amazing. I mean, that's what they make soap out of, isn't it? You boil potash down, so you just end up with the lye in the bottom, and you mix it with animal fat, and there's your soap.
Yeah, and a different way you might hear it called is potash. So both
Ah, yeah.
okay. Same one. I've been run through the ringer for not calling it potash because I said potash, potato, potato, potash, potash. Jeez. It's the
Oh,
little things, John. It's the little things.
yeah.
So yeah, there's some great things people are going to need to think about moving into this new world. It's going to be a combination of old and new in the beginning, but your mind frame is going to need to change drastically moving forward for self-sufficiency. Like you say, much more awareness. The crime as well. The crime waves going on all over the place with people. They don't have their money. Changes in government and transitions of things you might be forced to do to be able to enter a place or move across the border. Like you have checkpoints already down where you live on the roads there. You might even have to try to find some of the back roads, where those checkpoints are, logging roads, whatever it would be. At least here in the States, there's a lot of country roads, logging roads. It'd be very difficult to, UK is a bit smaller. You can, cut off a lot more access points. But here in the States, there's so many, back ways to come in and out. But being incredibly aware and just knowing that these massive changes are coming and they're going to be happening more swiftly than anything you can possibly imagine. Like you said, you woke up one morning and suddenly there's a check post constructed and manned down at the end of your street. Like, where those 6 guys come from, and 2 checkpoints with a barrier across the road. Like, I went to sleep last night and that wasn't there. Now explain how you're going to get your car across without your papers. So, I mean, there's just so much happening right now. Self-sufficiency is the way to go. As seeds are, at least in my opinion here, and yours also, same, looks like it's not going to be too long until we see the same thing that happened with toilet paper and rice and beans or whatever happened with the garden centers, with the dirt, the seeds, and the plants. And then what else do you think? There has to be at least a third amount of stuff for self-sufficiency that's also going to be hit. It's going to be like locusts. Just nothing left. They're going to go to the next variety of plant or variety of food. And garden centers, supermarkets, medicine's already been wiped out. So then what's next? I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
Machine
right.
repair parts or something, right?
It'll be, I wonder, like, if certain tools and stuff are going to get on shortage at some point. But yeah, that's a really, really good way of explaining it, actually. It's literally like locusts. You're right. They're going to do the food, garden centre, seeds. Okay, what's going to be water filters? What's it? Yeah, but I can see, yeah, it literally is going to be like that. It's just, and then obviously when there's not much of things left, all of a sudden the price goes very, very high. But yeah, that's a good point. What are the locusts going to be feeding on next?
Because you said water
Apparently
filters. Now you have to stand. They're like, once the water filters are gone, those are gone. Those are a supply chain thing that's definitely takes a little bit of know how to put together, and also takes several component parts from different factories that are usually assembled in a different place. So with the supply chain being constricted the way it is, water filters are going to be harder to come by. And you got to think about that, tracing down the chain of all these things that we could use. So
get some decent water bottles as well, decent water containers. People have no idea. If you're out in nature, like, we take containers for granted in our society because they're everywhere. They are absolutely everywhere because that's how useful they are. But when you go out in nature and you want to try and make a container, it's like, oh, do you know what I mean? You're going to have to make one out of clay, or you're going to have to use bark. Containers are really, really difficult thing to come across. But we just take them for granted. So having a decent water bottle, like stainless steel or titanium, or then some larger water bottles. I mean, if you're going to get some plastic ones, get some proper decent ones, because I've been through so many plastic water bottles over the years. Most of them do not last 2 or 3 months. I've even got copper ones because I really love collecting my own spring water. So I'm always thinking about, what can I keep my water in? I love glass, it doesn't leak, but then it's heavy and it breaks. Plastic's great, but then it doesn't last. Stainless steel's okay, but then to get a big stainless steel container, it's super expensive. So yeah, containers, people definitely need to get their hands on some decent containers, because nobody realizes just actually the value of these things. They are so valuable.
Yeah, and those of you in Tennessee, the 5-gallon moonshine glass jug.
Oh, check this out. One of my customers, one of my leather customers the other day, bought me a beautiful bottle of whiskey. It's a Johnny Walker Blue Label. I checked it out on the web. It's like a £230 bottle of whiskey.
Yeah.
Nice.
Break that one open for the world ending. When the blue comet comes by, the blue star Kachina is visible in the skies next year. You can break that one open.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of cometary events, most of you can pretty easily find the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper, right? And most people know that one in the sky. If you look between those two, where the Big Dipper, Ursa Major, if it's where it pours out, because it's kind of, it's not even in the up in the heavens, it's kind of got that angle. Where it's pouring out, if you go a little bit south of there, you should see a green comet start to get brighter and brighter. So you're going to try to triangulate that in between Ursa Major and Ursa Minor, or the Big and Small Dipper. As it pours out of the Big Dipper, where it usually pours into the Small Dipper, that's how you always remember. Then the big one pours into the small one. Well, as it's pouring out, if you go a little bit south of where the water would drip out literally in the heavens, there's a green comet up there right now. It's going to be getting brighter for the next 2 months. So it should be reaching maximum brightness somewhere around middle of May, somewhere around there. But it's green, and it's really going to be super intensely bright in the night sky, not the day sky. So next year, K2 comet will be blue, and it will be visible during the day, larger than the moon during the daytime hours. So this is going to freak a fair few people out too, with all this going on. And then we got to have a blue comet rolling through the sky that's larger than the moon, visible in the day. Now imagine what it's going to be like at nighttime, how big it'll be.
Oh, right.
And then all these
Really
Hopi prophecies and legends coming out about the blue star coming through before the purifier comes. You know, whoa, hold on a second here. A lot of star action and comet action, because I was doing a video today about the earthquakes and liquefaction events every grand solar minimum. But looking through the artwork at the time, there always seemed to be an enormous amount of comets in the tapestries and different kind of artwork at the time. So whatever happens when you're getting these multiple comets in the sky coming through, there seems to be nastiness that happens on the earth. And the Chinese looked at those things as a bad omen as well. But we got 2 rolling through in the next 2 years that are going to be pretty substantial.
Well, at the moment, they probably will, because I've not seen this sky this clear literally since, like, I don't know, like the early 2000s. I've not.
That's right. Me too. I'm amazed.
The stars are just shining so bright at the moment. It's amazing. It's so beautiful. You know, I am so stoked there's no planes in the sky. The weather's amazing. I can see the stars. The air's clean. It's great. You know, like, you don't even need to go on holiday anymore. If this is what happens to the weather when you don't go on holiday, you don't need to go on holiday.
Yeah, and look at the narrative shift that eventually it'll bend back into IPCC, and the UN will ever say, like, hey, you need to stay home because look how clean everything's got. You have to stay home. We're going to reorganize everything into new job skills training. You're going to do vertical indoor agriculture. All the malls are out of business anyway. That's cool. We're going to start a new industry, universal basic income. Everything's going to be door to plate within 10 miles, and you're going to ride your bike to work, and we're going to keep everything clean, and the deer are going to run down the roads. It'll be something like that, you know, this little utopia they're trying to sell everybody. But watch for the narrative shift. So much nature came back so quick when we bad humans got out of the way. You can see it already. Can I say one thing, though? I do feel that it's a new management system for the human race has just been put into place instantly here. It's almost as if a new farming system or new management system has just been instituted in a matter of seconds, literally in time here. Not decades. Not centuries, minutes. You know what I mean? Days.
Yeah, it's unprecedented.
Going
crazy.
Deep. All right, John, any last words here? I'm going to sign off, and anything you wanted to tell everybody out there? And again, you know, I encourage everybody to walk over, or, you know, use your fingers to do the walk-in to get over to the YouTube channel, Primitive Ways, and check out the videos there. There's some helpful stuff. And you did some of the tanning right there on the vid, and then you actually dried it out. I saw you putting the stakes in there and then stretching it out.
Yeah, that's
dry out you did the tannins.
That's smoke tan leather, so that's not using bark, because see, the later Native Americans, when they were in a lot of the deserts, they couldn't find any tree bark to actually tan the leather. So they would use the small sticks to have a fire, and they would use the smoke as the tanning process. So you sort of tie it into like a little chimney sock, and then let all the smoke from the fire bellow up into it, and it goes through the fibers, and you just coat it in the smoke, and it stops it from rotting, and it also stops things from eating it as well. Because if you leave a bit of rawhide out, it's not long before
gone.
Something's chewing on it. Every mouse, every rat, every dog, everything. Yeah.
Or you can use it as bait to bring some stuff in too. Now, use it in the inverse. I think about these things that you want to use for trapping to try to bring animals in for bait, because I don't know if it's going to get that bad where you're going to eat the squirrels out of your backyard, but those things are pestersome, and I've lost an enormous amount of stuff already that I've planted just from these squirrels.
Squirrels taste amazing. Squirrels taste so good. Oh, some of the best meat I've ever had. The one animal which, if anyone is in a real situation, it's shrews. You know, the one, they look like mice.
Yeah, I know those little shrews. Those things are real cute too, right on the dinner plate.
They're cute, but I'll tell you what, they taste
they're cute, but they're tasty. Where have I heard that before?
They are disgusting. They are so disgusting. My God, I can't. For years, my cat, you know, he's been killing shrews, and he would always leave them, and I'd always be like, come on, that's not on. You know, you eat all the mice. You can't just kill the shrew and leave it there. And then one day I ate a shrew, and I was like, Oh my God, now I understand why my cat never ever eats them. I don't know what compounds in them, but they are absolutely vile.
Yeah, and insect proteins too. Go to Thailand. Anybody who's ever been to Thailand, you've seen like a million billion things for sale on the street. Crickets and grasshoppers and scorpions and all that stuff deep fried. I mean, sheesh. We're just gonna have to be more innovative, thinking of the protein sources around us, and just start really flipping the mind in terms of what was edible. Because our grandparents ate an enormous amount of stuff, and innards that we don't prepare anymore, we throw it away. It's only the prime cut. But living in Asia for so many years, I was eating a lot of things out there that were absolutely thrown away here, or given for animal food in terms of like intestines or the heart or the liver. We did the vid where you were eating the heart there, and also the liver recipes that you had. A lot of people don't like liver, but if you do the recipe right, it can be a really good source of iron and different kind of minerals that you were talking about.
Yeah.
We were at Jason's house, and then you were showing how to eat the heart properly, to take that outer skin that's not really easily to chew through, to break it off in the different parts, to be able to really get down into the meat, into the heart there, because most people don't eat it. But I've eaten it a fair few times through Asia: pig heart, chicken hearts, and just different stuff. They're real small ones. So
yeah, that's nice.
we'll have to start thinking
Really
about all
nice.
these things that we should throw away from the animals. And Native American Indians used every single scrap. Everything from the animal was used, nothing wasted, everything used. We might have to start thinking about that again. That should be the new motto. Hashtag think like your grandma or something.
Yeah. I mean, people just got to practice being aware. Like people who do really, really extreme sports, like tightrope walkers, people who climb up the side of buildings and stuff like that. What these people love, and why the reason they love it, is because it takes absolute focus, absolute presence in the moment. And that's where you find peace. And that's what you need to do. You need to pretend that you're doing something all the time, which is really, really dangerous, and your life depends on it, to keep that focus. Because, like we were saying, you don't want to get injured now. You don't want to have to go to the hospital. You need to pay attention. Life is real. So that's my message to everyone, is just to practice getting back into that heightened, sharp, aware state again. Because we've kind of lived in a,
Foggy haze.
yeah, very foggy haze.
Wow, the skies are clearing. Anyway, and remember, everything's in our playlist here. I'll link John's channel so you can go check it out and keep aware, and make sure you get some seeds also moving through these next few weeks and months. John Hickman, thanks for joining us. It's early spring gardening with the moon. It's all these little things again, and we could keep talking for hours and hours, and we will come on for the next session. And anyway, I'll see you next video.
Take care, everyone. Stay safe. See you soon. Goodbye.
Yeah, like your mask, because you have the hair on the side, is not going to really get a good seal. So for you, even wearing a mask won't work so good. You got the hair on the side there, the
Yeah,
beard.
you should see the
Got to
mask
shave
I've
it. It's
got
like I've seen a lot of guys here. What they're doing is just shaving like this little thing right where the mask snaps in. Yeah. Keep the whole beard, except they're just shaving like this little trench right here where the mask can snap in there.
I've got a really good mask though. It's got this stuff on it called Moldex.
Oh, you got that one. Okay.
Yeah, I got a really good one, which like really creates a really, really good seal. And I haven't really got much of a beard either. I'd love to have a proper beard, but nah.